Thank you for clicking on this video. I hope you enjoy. And if you do, then don't forget to like and subscribe. Ring that notification bell so you stay up to date on further content. Greetings and welcome to Shallow Star. I am the Renegade Rashad and this is Star Trek Online. Visual review video where, holy moly! Sorry, Dreadnought was just getting pretty close to us, guys. Whew! Where, in this visual review, we'll be taking a look at quite the prominent cruiser. It's a tough cookie and a strong ship, but we are going to be detailing and taking a look at its design and some possible variations to her visuals. So, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you, the members of the Federation, Klingon Empire, Romulan Republic, and Dominion, to bear witness to this wonderful ship. Artisans, grafters, engineers, tacticians, captains, commanders, admirals, temporal agent. Why on earth are you here, Black Badge? Okay. Well, with you all about, it gives me great joy to introduce you to... Stop staring at me. It's making me uncomfortable. To introduce you to the ZAHL Heavy Cruiser. Hello! Well, this is an aesthetically pleasing ship. A very different look for most ships. Or from most ships in this game. In fact, there are very few ships that take on this sort of design profile. I must say I am happy to see it. It's different. Sure, there's things which I have a niggly little pick at with, but hey, it's impossible to make me completely happy. Well, I say that, but the brand did a good job. So did the Gargaren. That aside, the ZAHL Heavy Cruiser is quite the aesthetically different ship, isn't it? Now, there's things that cue out to me straight away, like you can tell it's relatively big. In fact, it looks like only a few of its decks cover windows, so it has a lot of armor on this ship. She's really built to take damage. For anyone that has watched the review of this, that's wise, you'll know all about that. But this is a interesting looking ship. I mean, from most of the angles you can look at her, sorry, I realise where I am, so I'm going to change the angle to this one. Most of the angles you look at her, she's got quite the intriguing bits of detail, and some bits that I'm very curious as to what they actually are. The nacelles themselves are insane in their detailing and obvious bits of technology that must have a job, but Lord have mercy what they do. Then you've got the bits that are obvious, the impulse arrays, and I'm pretty damn happy with the way they look. They are very tough looking. Back of the ship, I'm really not sure what's going on at the top. Where do we begin? Well, let's begin with one of the first details that always popped out to me. The pod on the top. Now, this ship doesn't come with a hangar bay as such. We don't have a hangar bay. And I can't remember seeing this ship in the game. Sorry, in the show. So if it is there, I really don't remember it, which is bad. But then again, Delta Quadrant, I'm not going to lie, Voyager is one of my least favourite series, so I'm not so good on Voyager ships. Now the things I can point out with happily is that there is something at the front of this pod, so it's not just a massive lump they've just slammed on top. It is some kind of usable pod attached to the top of the ship. I'm saying pod because of the way it looks. Now it's got these two grates at the front of this. Personally speaking, I feel like they're much like with earlier Federation vessels, and even some of the later ones. I reckon these are hangar doors with forward launching shuttle bays. So instead of having their ships launch from the aft and just take off elsewhere, I mean, I'm not entirely sure where they would if they were going to. I feel like that must be the launch point. And it's pretty good to see. I'm sorry, I need a drink because I've started hiccuping. And I will say this, they're very finely detailed in there. It gives me that feeling of layers to it though. Like, I imagine, seeing as where they are, I imagine that this ship is designed that they take off and then fly forwards out. Well, they take, unlike with the Federation ship where they could literally inch a few mils off the ground and they can leave their hangar bays. This ship, you're actually rising probably the height of the shuttle itself and then launching. I just got fizz up my nose. But yeah, with that being said, that is a really nice aesthetic design at the front there. And if that whole thing on top is an engineering bay, sorry, a shuttle bay, that's huge, I will first add, but secondly add that it would make sense if this had to do cargo runs and that as well as is possibly that's where the cargo is stored. Bearing in mind this ship has temporal shielding abilities and quite powerful ones. I will demonstrate them shortly, but not this second. I will demonstrate them for a reason. We'll get into it. Now, the second thing to go on to, we're going to talk about this forward bridge section, the module. So much like with a Klingon ship, there's this line running down the sort of spine of the ship towards the front, and I feel like this circular disc is some kind of specialized shielding emitter. Or it might be a sensory platform. I'm curious as to what it is. Now, with the ship being temporal in nature, or semi-temporal in nature, should I say, perhaps that is some kind of temporal sensor array. Lord knows, they will look different from other sensor arrays, so I quite like seeing it there. But you move forward from that, and it's interesting to see that the bridge, well, I'm assuming is the bridge, isn't deck 1. Now, when I look around this ship, I can't see anywhere else I would expect the bridge to be. Maybe on this back bit of detailing on the back, but I still don't think so somehow. So I feel like you've got these multiple decks that are above it, probably some kind of habitat area, recreation, and I don't know, bar, somewhere to relax. Right behind where the bridge is. I imagine the bridge isn't at the front of this. That's probably the captain's observatory and something like that. But the bridge is probably in the middle, built in a little bit, nicely defended. If not, then I imagine the bridge is actually contained within the ship, deep in its bowels, keeping it nice and safe. Now, next detailing to go on to actually is the weapon emitters themselves. Now, this ship doesn't have a lot of them. Not that I can see. This bit right at the very front, I'm positive that's not weapon emitter. I think that's just some finer detailing. A bit of ablative shielding maybe, something that helps the ship endure heavy damage should it come into a forward contact. But you've got some interesting pod points. Now, either side of the nose, you've got these little pink emitters. Now, if we go to the back, they're identical to what looks like torpedo emitters at the back of the ship. So, taking into account coloration and thinking of chronoton torpedoes, I do believe the ship has 4 aft-mounted torpedo launchers and 2 forward-mounted launchers. And then, the way it's built into this design makes me feel like it's acting almost like a railgun does. Use some kind of magnetic inclination. magnetic interlinks to actually launch a torpedo out at much faster than they can normally launch at, which would make them exceptionally hard to dodge and would actually be quite an effective design detailing to have on the ship. We've had phaser lances, but it's not very often you see a hypermass projectile or a hypermass launcher accelerator. Hypermass accelerator for a launcher. That's the word I'm looking for. And keeping that idea in mind, and just saying what I'm trying to think there, you then go to this back bit. It's linked just above the impulse engine, going all the way down. Now, I don't believe this whole thing is to do with the same thing here, but the pink emitter that's in the front there, much like what looks like torpedo launchers, is it possible that those are the beam outputs? And if so, they're huge. Mega phasers be damned. It's almost like this ship has gone for less weapons, but more power. And it really does aim to deliver its power at an extreme load. It's interesting, but what are your thoughts on them? I've never really paid attention to when you're firing the ship where the weapons come from, so if those are supposed to be emitters, I'll be intrigued to know exactly how strong they are. Now, something else I've just noted, and it's making me wonder. It is a good thing to point out that this whole section where the torpedo launcher is connected to doesn't look like it's solid to the unit. And then you've got this weird sphere at the back. Now, is that supposed to be able to open? Because if those could open out, that would be interesting. And that makes me really wish I could remember this ship in the show. But detailing here, it does look like they open, and I love that section detailing. And I'd love it if someone tells me if this ship is supposed to have some kind of ability from this, because I'm pretty sure this was in Voyager, but I don't remember it at all, and that's horrible to say. Right. Before we go into the cells, let's talk impulse engines. Now, the impulse I'm a little bit niggly with. See, I love the two primary impulse you've got on the main hull, but the two below, not so much. And what weirds me on it is that it then goes round to the front. Now, unless that's a reverse impulse emitter, in which case they're huge, and it is interesting to think about it, but wow. Having said that, it'd also be the first time sci-fi ships are quite accurate with how they got to stop themselves, because it's all well and good having a lot of power to push yourself forwards, but you need a lot of power to stop yourself too, because, well, it's not like you're going to be able to use a star to slow yourself down. Or guarantee you could use a star to slow yourself down. You could technically use a star. But what are these? So, you've got your two emitters here. Now, considering the fact that at speed, you'll notice that there is a blue impulse coloration coming from the lower section. So they've got to be impulse emitters in my head. Which then tells me what are the front. I'm probably being a little bit too nitpicky right now, but it is a question I feel like I must raise. Maybe they're temporal emitters themselves there. The coloration works with temporal. It's got this beautiful kind of blue, cyan, whitish feel going on about it. Bit of lavender in there as well, why not? It's quite a nice little aesthetic choice, I think. And happily that coloration, ironically, is followed on into the facades. Now the facades, I'm going to admit, I wasn't keen on them when I first saw them. Felt like they were too much. But then I sort of really paid attention to the ship's nacelle design, and they do fit in quite well. The question is though, the facades there are forward, right? So what's this leading an impulse trail at the back? I mean, it's possible it's the warp coil trail, because all ships do seem to have these weird aesthetic changes. And then you've got more impulse engines from the looks of it, though they are a slightly different coloration. Oh, hang on. Yeah, that coloration matches that coloration. So yeah, those are not impulse engines there. But what on earth is going on? You've got some kind of field emitter at the back. Maybe that's just the venting or exhaust. Because they're definitely not thrusters, that's not how warp coils work. But hey, interesting to see. I do like the aesthetic design though, what looks like facades going further around, because it gives me more of a feeling like this ship is designed to collect more than just the standard space particles. It's probably going out there trying to gather chronotons as well. On that matter, this ship has a special hypercharged temporal shielding. It's powerful and looks absolutely amazing, I'm going to say that. The effects it has, well, it really does protect your ship and deals a lot of damage and debuffs to your enemies that are attacking you. It's great, but what's emitting it? See, my first thought, based on the way it forms around your ship, is that it's these blue tubes that are on top of the nacelles. I have a feeling like these are the emitters for that hypercharged shielding. So the ship has its standard shielding, then it's got these tubes which are emitting the temporal shielding, and then when it goes to the hypercharge, they're going to the full output, and that's why they're exposed, unlike most shielding emitters. These are exposed so that they can force that hypercharge out and not overload and cause harm to the ship. But other than that, I really can't think of what's emitting it. Another finer detail I do want to crack in on, but we need to be near something so I can get a good close look at it. It's the bit of detailing on top here. Now, safe to say it's... Will he work for me? I'm too close. Oh god. Oh, we can get a good close up of the ship now, can't we? Oh, there we go. So, well, isn't that an aesthetically lovely look? What is that? I will say this. It's quite nice in the way it looks. It has a good bit of detailing that prevents this top pod from being way too flat. But what is it? The only thing I can think of is this is part of a weapons emitter array, and that's purely based on these 3 circles being on either side of it. Maybe a weapons charge regulator and out? I don't know. It might be something completely different. Hell, this could be where engineering actually is, and I could be going completely balmy. And it could be like this ship has 3 warp cores, and they all bullet out of these sections. I don't know. I'm not sure what to make of them, if I'm honest. Yep. I will say one thing. It's a nice bit of detailing, prevents the ship from being too flat, and it does make the ship feel a little bit more rough. Considering how it's designed to take a lot of damage, that's nice. Final thing to do a quick comment on is the deflector. Now, the deflector really disappoints me. But only because of how bland it is. The whole section running up to the deflector is bland. I could probably get a better view of that, come to think of it. So let's fly on back here a second. La 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 la. Nope, no, it's not gonna let me get a better view. Screw you, game. It's a bit of a shame, but hey. The emitter is really bland, and it can't. Sorry, Deflector is really bland. It kind of gets to me because it looks nice. You get the idea it's a temporal deflector, but other than being a circular disc with some interesting lines squiggled over it, it's just kind of. I don't know. I wish there was a bit more detailing to it, or maybe more detailing running around up to it. Yoink. Not so flat and lifeless at that bottom bit. I know the back bit looks kind of interesting, but it's a shame when you've got detailing and then suddenly it disappears out. And it's the same for the whole nose. The whole lower section of the nose is very low detail. Sure, the groove looks great. I'll give it that. The groove is absolutely beautiful on the ship. And it prevents it from being completely flat, but around the deflector is just... It's pulling all the attention away from the deflector as well. Like they don't want to admit how bad it looks. But hey, that's one niggly for me. The rest of the ship to me is kind of good looking. I like it. You know what else I like? Visuals. Now I don't have many I can show you guys. Unfortunately, I'm not rich enough to get every last one of them. I do apologise for that. But I can show you a few, so let's get started. First of all, Discovery. Now, Discovery is exactly what you'd expect from it. But that's strangely what normally is the coloration used for impulse emitters is now on those blue tubes on the top of the nacelles. Right, secondary impulse emitters. And now I feel like the ones below. Oh my words. Semi feels like they couldn't make up their mind what was going on. Deflector is still kind of meh. I don't know about you guys, but I do kind of like the look. The changing coloration, having darker front and lighter rear is kind of a nice aesthetic change as well. How about letting the Terrans have a go at it? And oh yeah, why does that always work? It might just be my love of darker aesthetic designs, but this ship just looks really good right now. And I'm not going to take that back. See, now the deflector looks a bit better. There's more going on with it. And it feels like there's more ridged grooves coming up towards the deflector as well, purely because of the way the hull is just designed around it. That's pretty nice. Now I'm positive these are bastards around the side, possibly at the back. Why is those ones now yellow? What? Ah! I feel like this has been out the loop for so long with Cryptic, they forgot what each of these parts were. Because you can tell those are all impulse, but in the central section, all four of those are impulse. So having two randomly different colour... Oh well. Having said that, I was watching one of their streams the other day, and it was funny listening to the creator going, I don't know what ship that is. And I'm thinking to myself, that's the Tactical Command Battle Cruiser! Oh boy. Issues. Give me a tissue. Right, section 31 time. Now, Darth did a quiet comment on this one, saying he liked it. Not gonna lie, I quite like it too. Those that watched my stats breakdown will also know how much I like this ship's design. They've covered up those impulse engines now. That is awkwardly looking better for me now that they're covered up. Just because it feels to me like the ship doesn't have too much in the way of impulse. Deflector is odd. Just feels like to me it's been shrunk. I'm now more than certain that the things I called weapon emitters are weapon emitters. Just looking at them right now. And if this ship could shed its hull, like seen in Discovery with the Section 31 hull, I would not want to fight this thing. try and get a little bit more friendly and let the Aegis out. Now this is normally a really bad hole in my personal opinion because the blue lines tend to be in odd areas. But stars look pretty good. Actually, the whole thing around in the cell looks pretty good. Oh, maybe those underneath are secondary levels of deflector. Now, if this is a tri-deflector formation, maybe normal deflectors and the quantum slipstream drive deflector, that would be pretty cool. But I'm probably asking for too much there. Still, very nice to see. The blue around the impulse engines looks pretty good, I will say that. And I kind of like the additional blue detailing on the top part now, that bit that I'm really not sure what it is. That's pretty nice to see. It gives it more energy and life. And that's something a lot of ships seem to miss, life. Now we have been assimilated. And it's not a bad touch to the ship, to be honest. Again, what is impulse is a sort of yellowy green, and it's the same on the nacelle. So are these actually impulse emitters in some kind? Help the ship rock to and fro? I don't even know. You know what I do know? I have a little bit more going on, so let's have a little bit more fun with the ship, and hey ho! Well, suffice to say, the Borg make good use of this ship, and it's an effective little additional touch. Now, with some ships, the Borg shield aesthetics don't work as well with the Borg assimilated parts, but hey, this one looks quite good. Right, now off you come, they're assimilated, and we'll move on to the Bajorans. Strangely, that works again. Rough, tuck, and ready. This really could fit with me as a Bajoran ship of some kind. And I kind of like it for that matter, on that simple run of things. Again, I'm positive on the weapon emitters now. Actually, really not sure what that circle disc is on the top anymore, though. The unknown H detailing, or HT, fighter looking detailing, I don't know what that is. It looks pretty good at the moment. There doesn't seem to be a deflector anymore. Okay. It's a nice little touch, I think. The nose is pretty good too, actually. I quite like that. Counter command, do your thing. Now, counter command is normally really nice. And once again, it is quite good on the ship. I've got to unlock the different colour Counter Commando because green is not my favourite coloration, and I'm kind of hoping the different version is like blue or red or orange, something different. If it really is like that, I'll be flying a lot more often, believe me. Not a bad look. Deflector looks a lot better right now. Now, Delta. Now this normally adds an interesting effect. The deflector dish is interesting. Not really sure what's going on with the other. What is going on with those tubes? The Delta always has a really weird impact on the ship's design. Can't say I'm keen on it with this one. Sorry, Delta, but you lose. Bit of soul time. Oh, wow. Oh. Okay, yeah, that is beautiful. Definitely my favourite aesthetic choice so far on this ship has got to be the Dyson's shield. And again, that front is looking amazing. I just love these highlighted lines as well that's going around the rim of the ship. It's adding a little bit extra detail that really works for me. I'm a little lost for words. Deflector looks really good. So does this section here. It's one of the times where the Iconian shield variation isn't terrible in my eyes, and it's actually quite good. Works really well. Possibly because those patterns aren't overdone. Nice. Curse you! Damn it, ZAHL. I'm not supposed to like that one. I try not to like it. I'd have been more happy if the silver was gold on top, and that's weird for me saying because I don't like gold. But this is quite a tough look to it. Looks like it's got some secondary shielding around every part of the ship. I think a little bit of gold detailing in here, there, and everywhere. It's not too bad. But it's not great either. You see it there and everywhere. Let's give it that comment. The one that I should definitely like, because I always seem to like Folians, and Oli. What the trash? Oli! Wow! Okay. Yes, no? 50-50? Okay, I like it, but I don't. It seems exceptionally cybernetic at the back, which is the bit that's putting me off a little bit, but at the same time, I absolutely love the way the forward section looks. Let's talk about catching me in a 50-50 place there, STO. And once again, oh no, this doesn't even make sense. Folian's been about for ages. You had the Folian shield aesthetics when they brought this ship out, so how the hell do they not match up? Oh well, not my problem. Now I'll have a bit more fun. Temporal. Who doesn't like the Temporal shields? They are a very lovely design. Always been a bit weird how they got the oily rainbowy feel to the ship, but can't complain at it. It works well on this ship as well. Probably would work better on a Kremlin ship, but who am I to complain? It's a nice ship. Deflector looks better now. Why can you just giving us that deflector standard? Back to the heavens! Oh, that deflector looks good. The actual bits behind it look great as well. The whole wing struts that hold onto the nacelles are lovely. All the ship looks dark, ready, and imposing. Damn! Yeah, if this ship came towards me, I'd start to get a little bit nervous. Hey, trash can compactor. Let's see if assimilating helps you a little bit. I mean, I've always joked that the green shields look like they've been assimilated. Is yet another ship that I don't like them on. And awkwardly, recently I found that there is a ship I do like these shields on, which is weird. But unfortunate. Because it really does mean that these are my least favourite shields, and proving it. Big time. So let's go on to something better. Always a good shield aesthetic, no matter what the ship. And you haven't let me down, Jem'Hadar. You have not let me down. Deflector looks good. There's more detailing to it, so I like that. The chrome fields to certain parts of the ship that I'm seeing, like the cylinders that I mentioned that look like they would open up those arms with the torpedoes on. That's quite nice. The wings look great right now. The whole ship just actually looks great. There's actually a lot more chrome on this ship than I'd expect, especially from the Jem'Hadar. You don't really see chrome on its builds. It's different, but I'm not complaining. I like it. Next into the works, we get to the last but not least. Often a good one. And does appear again to be quite a good. Oh! Do you know what? Just the additional of those hexagon patterns going down towards the deflector have done just enough of an aesthetic change that I like the deflector. because it's emboldening that body and design, and it's giving it more flair. The inside of the nacelles look good as well. This is beautiful. Definitely my favourite. We have a winner! Not really sure I can claim it to be a winner, but I absolutely love the way the shield looks on this ship. Give me some more of this, please. Any time of the day. But this ship is... yeah. It is really safe to say that this is quite the auspicious and beautiful ship. She's different from many of the ships that you can have in the game, so that's nice. And I quite like her. I've got my nitpick, but overall I think she's got a beautiful design. If I was to score her design, I would give her... because there's a few too many flat zones, which are plain, I'm going to have to say 8 out of 10. She's got some great large embodiments of detail, but then this random flatness, and I don't like that part to it. But otherwise the ship is great, beautiful. I think 8 out of 10 is fair. Especially since she does give us something different to fly as well. But no, what is your guys' thoughts? All I'm going to ask now is that you enter the comment section and you comment below. 1. What your thoughts on this ship is, design-wise. 2. Is there a ship you want me to make a cinematic of? 3. Is there a ship you want me to review? And I shall heed all these comments and take them into... well, take them in and put them on a nice list. But with that being said, thank you for supporting this channel by watching it. I hope now that you will check out the description below, contact with our social medias, and maybe even join our Discord. That is the best place to get hold of me. And until next time, guys, remember, live long and prosper. And always stay free in your thoughts. Helm!